up and down in the state and here in Montclair? Do we have the right form of government? Are there ways that we can more efficiently operate so we can deliver the services that I think those of us who are in government got into it to do? I don't think any of us sitting up here got involved in public service or in government to dismantle it. We got into it to utilize it as a tool to be effectively serve the constituency that we have the honor and privilege to represent. So we also have an opportunity to interact with our state senator, our assemblywoman, our assemblyman as well, each and every day on issues of funding, whether we're fighting for funding from the state, whether we're asking for more funding, or whether we're just making sure that that what is coming out of state government in terms of referendums, what's coming out in terms of laws that are being passed, we're actually on the ground, like my colleagues here in the municipal level, we're the ones who actually have to implement what's being done on the state from a legislative level. So there's a lot of communication about what's working, what's not working, because we're the incubator for for the delivery of those services. So so there are a range of issues that you deal with as a county freeholder. Unfortunately, part of our challenge at the freeholder level and at the county level is to educate people about the form of government and what it is. And this is why this kind of community forum is great, because it has a real impact on your day-to-day quality of life, whether you're enjoying one of the wonderful county parks that we have in this community, whether you're talking about policies like complete streets, which is something that Montclair was on the forefront of as a policy, which we now have on the county level, which is really helping to drive some smart, sustainable, economic, environmentally friendly growth. The counties where those things are implemented. So who your county freeholder is, not just who it is, but who that board is and how that board operates is critical to efficient operation of government, and it's important for all of us to pay attention, to that. So that gives you kind of a little overview. I'm here for any additional questions. I wanted to again thank you, Dr. Baskerville, for giving me the opportunity to be here, and I see many familiar faces in the audience. It's great to see some great friends out there. For those of you who I don't know, I look forward to meeting you and looking forward to this effort to kind of help educate our community about how we stand up. Not going to make it political because we're in the town council chamber, Mr. Mayor, but but how we, I am Mr. Gill's son, so I got to do it a little bit. But we about how we stand up for what we all collectively believe in. So thank you for that opportunity.
Our next legislator has a very incredible and remarkable history, and I'm still pondering this because she has provided service for over 30 years, and she's only 28, so I'm trying to figure out how is that possible? But she's been serving in many different capacities, and she's a mentor to many, and Assembly Speaker Emeritus, I'm grateful that you decided to join us today and share a little bit about the Assembly position, and she also benefits, and when we have questions later on, she might want to discuss any number of our legislative positions. So thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Much like Joe Hartnett, I love that overview he gave you because it made me think of the State House, and it made me think that in New Jersey we have one of the oldest state governments in the country. We began to operate as a state government in 1776. And I'd like to share that anecdote, particularly when Renee makes reference to the fact that I served as a speaker, because in 300 years of state government in New Jersey, we've only had 2 women who have ever had the title speaker. opportunity to serve as speaker for 2 terms, which is 4 years. The other woman who served for less than a year in 1965. So the issue of participation and engagement at a community level gets to be important because it has implications for what occurs in your state government. Now, the New Jersey's Constitution is always described as the Constitution that gives a governor the broadest powers. New Jersey's Constitution allows its governor to appoint judges, make nominations and appointments to a variety of boards and commissions, and governors have veto power over the budget in New Jersey. I thought it was important to emphasize that because many times constituents believe that the 120 members of the legislature, there are 80 members in the Assembly, the General Assembly, and we consider ourselves to be the People's House. There are 40 members in the State Senate, and Senator Gill belongs to what we call the House of Lords.
And ladies.
And that is because the Senate has powers that the Assembly does not possess. But the important power that the Assembly has is a budget bill, an appropriations bill, that governs the expenditure of the $35 billion budget that we have. The budget can only originate in the People's House, the State Assembly. There are 40 legislative districts in New Jersey. Each district has 1 senator and 2 assembly persons. Prior to a change in our state government in the 60s, we did not have district-based representation. We had 1 senator per county, or 2 they later, morphed it into. The speaker has the ability to appoint all of the chairs of the various standing committees and special committees. Why it's important for citizens to understand that is that the speaker, and you will hear Senator Gill speak about the Senate, the presiding officers of the 2 chambers determine who's in charge of what. So the Assembly Speaker will appoint the Chair of Commerce, the Budget Chair, the Education Chair, the Homeland Security Chair, and it gets to be a precarious process in terms of who gets to chair committees. A fair speaker will seek to geographically provide leadership opportunity to everyone. You will find politics gets in the way in the structure of committees because often if a presiding officer comes from a particular region of the state, you often, sometimes, I'm not telling tales out of school, but sometimes there will be an effort to, quote, stack the deck with the composition of committees. So, for instance, the only time a bill does not have to go through the normal legislative process is if the speaker decides a bill is going to go directly to budget and appropriations. So if I have stacked the deck in terms of who serves on the Budget and Appropriations Committee, I can almost guarantee as Speaker that any bill I send to Budget and Appropriations, I'm going to get it voted out and then it goes directly to the floor. Negating that process, though, the procedure is a legislator introduces a bill. We have something called the Office of Legislative Services. They are the research arm of the legislature. They are nonpartisan. And if I call the director and say that I want to have analysis and research on a particular subject, that has to be done with confidentiality. And when that work is completed, a staffer will come bring me my draft piece of legislation. If it is good and I like it, then on a day that the legislature is in session, you can only file your piece of legislation on a day that the legislature is in session. You can file your bill. The speaker